welcome. I am Jonnita Stanton. We have Reginald Perryman and Kashka Williams. We are TSARE. There's something about real estate, and we have a special guest with us, Emma of Detroit Title and Escrow.
All right. The one and only.
Yes, sir.
Hey, guys.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Most people are familiar with you in the real estate world here in Detroit, but just tell us a little bit about your background and when you got started and who you are.
Okay. Well, I always tell this story. I got started in new construction, believe it or not. Didn't know what I was walking into. I just needed a job.
Okay.
And so I picked up a part-time job through the temporary agency. I was living in Detroit. The job was in Novi. You know, back in the day, we didn't know what Novi was, you know, like 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
There wasn't a Novi. But anyways, I picked up a job at a temporary agency just shuffling papers. You know, they was like, do some filing. And I was like, oh, okay, great. It was $9 an hour. Whoa, $9.
Right.
But, I mean, again, during that time, being a single mom, $9 was cool. You know, you get paid weekly. And it happened to be for a construction company. If you've been around, Reg, you've been around. Right. You too. Crosswinds Communities.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Bernard Gleberman? Yeah, so it was for him. And I went in just, again, typical filing. And I don't know. Maybe I just picked up on it. I don't know. Next thing you know, it went from me doing basic filing to actually reviewing purchase agreements. From reviewing purchase agreements to becoming a closing agent, like signing as you know, by way of a resolution for this guy. Then I went into processing mortgages like 3 years later. This is back when, for those of you that know, that's been in the game, desktop underwriting, DU and LP. Remember that? So this is back when all you had to do is get everything and just fax it over and get an approval.
Right.
He happened to have his own mortgage. Fax, right. You know, I'm old school.
Right.
He happened to have his own mortgage company. So I was processing loans. So, I mean, you know, I touched on new construction. I went into processing mortgages. Right. And the funny thing is, I didn't understand the title side. You know, all I knew, and it's the same thing that you guys know, I want to close. I know I got to send it to the title company. I needed the title company to do whatever they is to work magic.
I still don't understand title.
Get me, work magic. Get title person, do whatever you got to do to get me to the closing table.
Right.
I got to answer to my boss. We have a quota to meet. So mind you, I didn't know what title was, but I just knew I knew what I needed when I wanted it, and I'm sending you all my business. Make it happen. And you know what? Again, not knowing, and they was making it happen, and you know, we was good. And I kind of outgrew the loan part of it. Things kind of got bored, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to move on. I was offered a position on the title side, and that's when I went to appreciate title insurance and the title company, because I had no idea. Me just faxing over this last minute contract and this last minute clear to close saying, I need you to make this happen on, it's Monday, I need to close by Wednesday.
Right.
And this was before we had CDs and 3-day reviews and all this other stuff, and the numbers changing at the table, you know. And I didn't realize what all went into it. They hadn't pulled title, they hadn't examined anything, but they couldn't tell us no, because at that time, we sending you 100 deals a month. What you gonna say? Let me make it happen. So when I went on the other side, that's when I had an appreciation for what the title people go through. And I'm talking back in the day was when you had to fax your funding documents over. You had to schedule your closing 10 days in advance. You know, it was so different than now. But anyways, when I went to the title side, I never looked back. And that's kind of where my career started. 2004. Title with Kathy Lamont over at Lamont Title. I can't even remember now. And went from that, and then in 2013, that's when I launched on my own. I walked away from a $65,000 salary. Was like, I don't want to work for anyone anymore. So I started doing title out of the back of my truck. It was a flex. My husband looked at me like, you walking away from what? I was like, and he worked at AT&T. He didn't know anything about real estate. And I was like, just trust me on this. I want to do this. I think I could do this, you know. I walked away from that. Everyone was looking at me like, you crazy. I was like, but I know what I'm capable of, you know. So I was doing title out of my truck for a minute. Then I picked up an office in the Davis Stott building. Y'all remember the Davis Stott building? Yeah, I picked up a little office, probably the size of this in there. I was doing title out of there with my partner, Davin, and we just took off from there. So it was two of us. We went from 2 of us to like 5 of us. My daughter always rocked with us. We probably got about 17 employees now, 2 offices, looking for a third.
So the
Hold on, where y'all looking for a third at?
The Livernois 7. Devin's gonna kill me because I'm putting it out there. But the Livernois
okay.
7 mile area. I want to be in
love
that
that area.
I want to be. I want to be in the heart of it. Detroit title. This is
Right.
what it is. I want to be in the heart of it.
Okay.
So I got my eye on a few spots. He's gonna kill me because I told him I was
Sorry,
going to
Devin.
it. Sorry,
Well, you
Devin.
heard
Yeah,
it first
sorry.
here.
Sorry, Devin.
You heard it
Hey,
first.
It's going down.
So when you were at Lamont, you guys did a lot of commercial because a lot of people don't know your experience with commercial properties.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We did just a little bit about my background, and thanks for that. I mean, I'm not just this investor-friendly title company.
Right.
My background started with nothing but vacant land with the city of Detroit, NSP mortgages, neighborhood stabilization. So we're talking, I would walk in a room and I would probably close 100 properties, we call it parcels, at one time. So I'm walking in a legal office and the table probably longer than this, and they're just shuffling papers and we're just signing on documents. So I'm talking millions.
Right.
Millions
Right.
of dollars. And we had a team that we would be up all night sometime.
Right.
You know, we had the Wayne County treasurer's tax foreclosure project. So we probably looking at 40,000 properties a month for that. You know, and then we're doing millions of dollars in tax credit. So, you know, my level of doing this isn't just this residential or the retail. It goes all the way to commercial land assemblage.
Right.
So we take 100 parcels, 100 properties, and we would put them together,
Right.
apply for an application to consolidate to create one big piece of land.
Right.
You know, so I mean, this is years of experience, and that's also where I gained my title tax foreclosure experience as well. So so this goes way back.
Message,
That's-
right?
that's why I
The
brought it
message
up,
is that
because-
she's not an overnight celebrity.
Yeah.
Say Detroit
Yeah.
title just come and
Yeah.
overnight, huh?
Look, 3 kids. One was already with me. My other 2 kids carried them both pregnancies. I'm in the law firm. I mean, everyone knew me. I had my little roll bag, my little heel, like, because I had to keep my heel. I'm 8 months pregnant. I got my little heel
Right.
on, and I'm up in there just, you know, signing documents. And this is when we had to go stand in line at the county, had to pull favors. I mean, you know, so my background goes back.
I need to kind of pull it back a little bit. What is title?
Title insurance.
Okay.
That's what it is. The first thing that I need for you guys or for the audience to understand is that there's a title agency or a title underwriter, title policy, and then there's the escrow agent. So most of us in the industry, when you look at Detroit Title and Escrow agency, or you look at some of the other title companies and they have the word agency behind them, understand that we're an agent for the actual underwriter, which is where you're getting your title policy from. So we're just a small guy that's it's like a broker. We're bringing the deal to the table just as if you walked in an insurance company that could offer you different policies from different underwriters, whether it's State Farms, AAA, LA Insurance, or whomever. They say, okay, I got a few I can write under. That's the same thing with my role over at Detroit Title and Escrow. I'm an agent for that underwriter. To become an agent for that underwriter, I must be licensed. So not only do I do this, but I'm licensed. I've been licensed for about long as I've been doing title.
Right.
So probably the last 17 years or so, I've had my license with the state of Michigan. So, you know, when people call, well, I'm going to report you to the same thing. I have to have a license in order to be an agent for the underwriter. So the underwriters are the big dogs.
Right.
Those are your Fidelity, National Title, your North American Title Insurance Company, your First American Title Insurance Company. So when you hear that, you know you're dealing with the underwriter directly. Versus when you're looking at us, we're a writer for that underwriter. So the underwriter has vetted us. They've looked at our history. They've looked at how we have our business layout. And then they say, okay, you have your license. So with your license, you can bind us on all of your different transactions that you're insuring. So how it starts is it starts with the title search. So before we can even talk about title insurance or a title policy, we have to look at how do we get there. We get there by doing what's called a title search. Some folks call it a title commitment and or a title report. That's basically pulling all the data from the public records of documents that have been recorded on this property, any property. The title standards is generally you go back 40 years for residential. If it's commercial and it's older commercial, you probably go back 100 years because everything needs to connect. And when I say everything, I mean the recorded documents, A to B, to B, to C. The moment we miss a document, we say we have what's called a break in the chain of title. So that's what we mean by that. So once we do the search of all the documents that have been recorded against a piece of land, releases, mortgages, what have you, we come up with what's left over, what hasn't been released, what mortgage hasn't been released, what taxes haven't been paid, what is this stray deed or this stray document, things that do not connect.
Right.
And that's when we generate the title commitment or the report. That report always will outline who the current owner is, recorded owner, who the current owner of record is. And I put that out there, we know why.
Yeah.
And you may even hear it as fee simple, but who's the recorded owner of record? Now you can have two people. You could have the owner, the true owner. Then you could have a fraudulent deed. You could have an erroneous deed. You could have a deed, anything. And we can't ignore that deed. Even if we know it's fraudulent, we can't ignore it. So what we do is we raise the interest of that document. Because we're saying that's the owner, but we got this deed out here, and we need to deal with it at some point or some kind of way.
Right.
So, again, your title search is always going to outline the owner, any encumbrances, liens or encumbrances. You guys talked about that, mortgages, taxes, other miscellaneous affidavits or things that may go on. But we also go a little bit further, and we search the owner's name or the seller's name. Because what you got to understand is to give a comprehensive search, if you own real estate, Jonnita, and you have some personal obligations going on in your life, maybe you're going through a divorce, maybe you're in the middle of a bankruptcy. You filing bankruptcy, but you're selling real estate. How you broke? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That matters. Right. Or you can have a state or federal tax lien filed against you. And folks don't understand, and this is my day-to-day conversation. Those liens filed against you as an individual, now you picking up real estate. Now that real estate becomes an asset and that lien attaches. So that's one of the reasons we run those names. For anyone that's in that chain of title, that's a potential seller.
Right.
So once we gather all that data, we put it in that old fancy 3-4 page report that we send you guys, and you call me and say, what is this? Did you read it?
No.
You know? Right. So that's the title search or commitment. Now that is our tool to get to the closing table. That's what I call our guide.
Right.
We take that report and we dissect it. Okay, we know who the owner is. The owner matches my purchase agreement, or maybe it doesn't. Explanation for that. Second page is where we talk about all those liens or encumbrances, the issues we got to deal with. How quickly can I get to the close table? As quick as you can give me an IRS payoff. As quick as you can tell me where this fraudulent deed came from, or can we find this person? As quick as you can get me a copy of your divorce decree, because these are things that we found doing our search. As quick as you can get me a mortgage payoff if we're paying that loan off, because we found that during our search. So what we're saying is essentially, and the commitment is, in order to get to the close and get a title policy, you have to do A, B, C, and D. And one of the other things you have to do is you have to pay the title company.
Right.
The policy isn't binded until all the requirements are satisfied and the title company is paid. Right? That's how that works. So we start with the search. We satisfy those requirements that we've identified. I'm sure we'll talk about it more. Once those requirements are satisfied, generally at closing, that's normally when it happens. You know, the seller signs a deed over to the new buyer. We get the money from the lender or the cash deal. We pulling out who all need to be paid. We paying the taxes, the water. We paying off the mortgage. We've already established that, okay, that deed was a family member. They came in and deeded out, or whatever we needed to do to cure that matter. All the requirements have now been satisfied. We have the money. The closing has been finalized. Now you have a title policy.
Right.
Because all the requirements have been satisfied.
So back up 1 second. So all of these requirements, not all the requirements have to be settled before you close. Some can be settled at closing. So, for example, someone owes back taxes. They don't have to go pay the taxes. They can come out of the proceeds of the sale. Correct. Just like your mortgage balance and things like that.
And we generally like for it to, don't get it twisted. We do have some folks like, I'm going out to pay. No, don't go pay the taxes. We'll take care of the taxes, as you indicated. From whatever you getting $20,000 and you owe $5,000, we're gonna pull it off of the $20,000.
Right.
You know, we're gonna pull this mortgage off a bigger number. We're gonna pull it maybe a $5,000 mortgage. We're gonna pull all of that off of the $20,000. So when you walk out of here, Mr. Seller, you sold it for $20,000. We pulled off all your costs. Here's your check for $2,000. Here's your check for $3,000, or whatever it is. But it's our role as the title company to make sure that those items have been satisfied.
Right.
So that's the preference for us to say we're going to pay those taxes.
Right.
That's the preference for us to say we're going to pay that water. That's definitely the preference for us to say we're going to pay off that mortgage, because I'm on the hook. You know, if I leave it to you to pay the mortgage off, and I've had it happen, I'll leave you to pay the taxes. You write the check just to satisfy me, but the check ain't good, and then now it bounced. I'm on the hook because I told the new buyer that they're insured, that
Right.
they have clear title. What clear title is called is marketable title.
Right.
I've given them a policy.
Right.
I've told them that they have marketable title, which trumps the warranty deed. You
Right.
know.
Wait,
So-
quick question, because me and Shaka had this
I
debate.
saw you.
So I personally,
claim
I think quit claim deeds are all right. So as long as you take the proper steps to make sure that you have clear title, he just don't like them at all.
No, I
Well,
said so for me.
We got
you-
the tape.
No, but I said this. I said for me. So if you're a experienced investor,
Right.
So I don't know title like Emma, but I
Right.
understand title. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I understand the basics, right?
Right.
I know how to see the break in the chain of title, right?
Right.
I know what I got to do. So for us, you can. I can pay Emma to do a title search,
Right.
And she sends me and I know how to look at page 2,
Right.
and see all the issues, right?
Right.
Most people don't understand that, right? So I'm saying because most people don't understand that,
They
it's
should
not
stay away.
for most people,
Right.
A quick claim deed is for super experienced investors. Not
Yeah.
people that think they experience, not people that go around saying,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Nah, you really got to understand what you're doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what I was saying.
Okay.
We gonna let
I
Emma
just-
answer it, and y'all gonna be
Yeah.
mad at me. 'Cause
Go
Emma,
ahead.
Even with that, and I see where you're going with it,
Right.
and one thing where you fall short at is, you're gonna call me, you're gonna say, I'm gonna do this on a quick claim deed if it's a good deal,
Right.
and I know I can take care of some things, and I'll give you a title search.
Right.
Keep in mind, I just explained, it's a title search. Until certain things have been satisfied, you are not insured. It's not a
Sure.
policy.
Right.
Also, to take it one step further, with the search as title folks, we can only show the data or the data that's recorded.
Right.
It could be deeds out there floating around that we obviously aren't privy to. It could be deeds that are in the queue of being recorded or maybe e-recorded, but we can't see it because it's in that gap that we know about with the various counties.
Right.
Or it could have just been walked over to the county for recording and my man's got it back in his hand at the counter, but I put my search out. A title search is only what it is. It's an informative report at that time until certain requirements have been satisfied. So I give you this report. It has a cert date on it.
Right.
This is everything I can see up to this date of what I can see from my title perspective. Now, it looks good. It looks good. So you're like, okay, it looks good. I'm going to go ahead and do this quick claim deed transaction. And after you've done that, something pops up later and you're calling me and you're saying, yo, you gave me a title report or the search and I bought
Right.
this based on this quick claim deed. Now, where did this come from? And as much as I like you, as much as I adore you, I'm going to tell you, and I told you this before, you only got a search, and the search was only good through that certification
Right.
date for what was recorded. You didn't convert that to a policy, so I can't guarantee
Right.
nothing.
So
You
you
know?
said, wait,
So-
but she said the key word though. If you satisfy those requirements, you can convert it to a policy.
On a warranty deed.
But you would
Okay.
get a
on
warranty,
a
not a quick
warranty
claim.
deed. Now,
Right.
and I saw you guys talking about that. Most cases where you generally can get title insurance, and
Right.
let me put the reason behind it.
Okay.
The warranty, and most people be like, and you hear them all the time, I want a warranty deed. I want a warranty deed. You guys know,
Right. Right.
No, what you want is title
Title
insurance.
insurance.
Exactly.
You know,
Right.
because a warranty deed
Wanna
is
be
this piece of
insured
paper and it
for
means
sure.
nothing. I have no money in the bank, but I'm gonna give you this warranty deed telling you that I warrant the property. It's free and clear, liens, encumbrances,
Yeah.
and I have no
Lies.
idea what's going on with it. And now you want to sue me because it's a warranty deed, hence warranty meaning that I'm warranting this.
Right.
Take me to court all day long. What you gonna get, my pennies?
Yep.
I don't have anything. Whereas if you take that warranty deed and you couple it with the title
insurance.
policy of the title
Right.
insurance, for you, from a buyer's perspective, that's what you want. You want the title insurance. You want the big dogs on your side. You know, you want me to take my license and make sure I've done my due diligence and I bind you with the underwriter. And what sellers fail to realize, because believe it or not, I get this question, well, why do I need a title company? Because I'm protecting you.
Right. Right.
I'm protecting you because if there is an issue, Mr. Seller, and you didn't know about it, but you've given a warranty deed, it could be something going on that you didn't know about, you know? You've given a warranty deed, and if you don't have the title insurance, Shaka's going to come after you.
Right.
Versus if you've purchased them title insurance, he's going to come after me first because he know where the money at. He
Right.
know where he's likely to be
Yep.
made whole
Where he's
Yeah.
if
insured
there's
at.
an actual
Right.
loss. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So everyone's like, I want a warranty deed, or why do I need a title company? Because I'm protecting both of you guys.
Right.
So
Yeah.
hold on. So you can't
So-
get insurance on the quick claim deed.
You You can. If it's most governmental entities, all they will issue is a quitclaim deed.
Right.
Because, again, warranty is I'm warranting the history of this property. I'm warranting to you that there's no issues and so forth. Whereas a quitclaim, I'm telling you, I'm giving you what I have and what knowledge I have. So most governmental entities, land bank and other counties, that's why you only see the quitclaim deed. When you were doing REOs, I mean, in REOs, they generally only do a quitclaim deed, or they may do a special warranty deed or a covenant deed.
Right.
In cases like that, we are able to insure because we understand the dynamics of where those deeds are coming from and why. You know, you get the blanket approval from your underwriter. You get your approvals as an escrow agent, and then we know what we can do. But if it's just you saying, hey, I'm giving a quitclaim deed, no, I cannot insure because at the end of the day, I want you as seller to give the warranty deed because when I put a policy behind it, there's a document that you sign at closing, an affidavit, and there's a series of questions that you have to answer, and you are testing that this is factual. And if for some reason you was dishonest with me on something and you caused, by not telling me something, you caused the potential loss. Yes, the buyer's going to come to me for title insurance, but then I'm going after you, Mr. Seller. Now, again, you probably don't have anything in the bank, but at least I have that warranty deed to be able to go after you. I got to make my buyer whole.
So what you're saying is, yes, you can insure a quitclaim deed with an entity like the county
entities.
Or you know what I mean, but not with us individuals.
Aren't those insurance policy normally they cost more, don't they?
No, you have your basic policy, which is generally a lot of the investor stuff that we do and things like that.
Right.
We want to limit our coverage, you know, because you don't really know what's going on.
Right.
But then if you want, which you're more retail, on your retail side, you want, a lot of times you want the extended coverage or you want the EGO policy.
That's what the EGO policy.
The EGO policy.
That's what I was...
And you see that more often on retail.
Yeah.
You know, you see that quite often on the retail where this property has been warranted, you know, for years, and it may have been with the same owners, and now they're just finally, and they'll say, well, I want the EGO policy. It's additional endorsements and additional coverage that you would get versus just a basic policy.
So I want to, y'all, this is why I said y'all going to be mad at me, because I'm going to pull you back again. I still feel like,
Make nothing, go ahead.
I just feel like people still don't, look, I've been selling real estate a long time. I barely understand title. I still feel like a newbie, first-time retail home buyer still right now, after however many minutes in this conversation, still doesn't understand title because you don't understand how many times I walked a person through a purchase agreement and then I explained to them that, you know, this purchase agreement explains that you have to have marketable title. That's one of the conditions that have to be met in order, you know, for us to move to closing. And I'm still getting questions like, so is the title going to be free and clear? Bruh.
Right.
I mean,
so that's what your role is.
And they don't even know.
That's what our role is. And they say what they hear. You know, the common things are, is the title going to be free and clear? I want a warranty deed.
And they don't even know what title is, though.
And they don't understand it. You know, and again, they don't understand title insurance protects your investment. Okay. So whether it's a $5,000 deal or it's a $500,000 deal, the whole concept behind title insurance is we go back that 40 years or we go back that 100 years, depending on that search, and we're looking at everything to make sure it lines up. And if all the dots are connected and all the requirements that I identified early on have been satisfied, I'm guaranteeing you as that new buyer, going forward from your date of closing back, if anything arises, you sitting in your home 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you still own that real estate and someone come knocking on the door talking about, I took care of the roof on this property, but I never gotten paid. At this time, their claim may have lapsed, but for the mere fact that they had the balls, if I can say that, to knock on the door and say that I want to get paid for some service, you can call the underwriter. I may still be around. Hopefully I am. But if I'm not, that's why you have a policy. You're going to call your underwriter just like you would look at your auto insurance policy or any other policy. You have a policy number. You get an entire policy. You call the underwriter and say, hey, I closed on this property 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Here's all of my paperwork. And now I got someone telling me that they have an interest in air or anything. It could be a valid interest or a non-valid interest. But for the mere fact that someone says that they had an interest in that property or some sort of claim against that property within that time span before you acquired it, that's why you want the title insurance.
Right.
Because you don't know what took place up to the point that you came and sat at the closing table and you signed and
Right.
you tendered that check. All you know is what took place after you closed with your actions now. You don't know what took place with that seller telling you that it's free and clear. So that's the purpose behind title insurance. So what I tell folks all the time and my thing is, you've closed, all the requirements have been satisfied, you and your home, sit back and enjoy the ride.
You got free and clear
Right.
title.
Because if anything,
Right.
and you may not have free and clear title.
But you feel
may
like it,
not,
though.
But you
know
protected.
that you're
Yeah.
protected.
Right.
It's just like when you at the dealership
Yeah.
and they say, okay, yeah, that car is yours, but I'm gonna need you to call the insurance and I'm
Before
having
you
go
walk.
ahead and send over the insurance certificate.
Right.
So when you roll off the lot, how you feel? You got your big dog car,
Yeah.
and you protect it, and you like, oh, I'm good, because I know
Right.
when they swerve with me, I'm like, oh, let them hit me if they want to. I got time. I got on
Full coverage.
Yeah.
Full coverage.
You feel protected knowing that you have that insurance. Now, again, it could be things that took place that
Right.
isn't recorded, may not have been recorded, but what you guys got to keep in mind, Michigan, all states are different. Michigan is a race to record.
Right.
So I could have probably given Reg a mortgage or a mortgage against my property, but he lackadaisical didn't go down there and record it, but everything else is taking place. For the mere fact that he didn't record it, his interest now comes behind
Yep.
whether it's dated or not, you didn't get it on record, so it wasn't there. However, the title policy still is in place. So Reg now pop up with this mortgage talking about, oh yeah, I had an interest. We as a title company still have to deal with it as the insured. It may be a valid claim, it may not, but now this is the situation where we're going back to the seller.
Right.
And we're saying, you signed this affidavit, and one of the questions on the affidavit was,
Right.
did you pledge this property to anyone as collateral before we got to this closing? And
Right.
Mr. Seller, you put no. You
Right.
put no.
Right.
So guess what? We're going to sue you.
Right.
Right. So let me ask you this, because you mentioned the contractor liens. So I always tell investors, and I just had this come up. Basically, they should be getting sworn statements and waivers of lien waivers from their contractors as they're repairing these properties. Correct?
They should be.
Yeah.
You know, big job, small job. If
Right.
it's anything that is an improvement
Right.
for you to sell that property, especially the electrical, the roofing,
Right.
the plumbing, things like that, those are huge. You know, you
Right.
can do some interior painting. That's still work that's been performed.
Right.
So they call that hard cost versus the soft cost surveys and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So anything you're having done where you're exchanging with that guy for $500 or more, you should be getting some sort of waiver.
Right.
Even if you're acting as your own, you know, a lot of times
Right.
it's my house. So, you know, but I'm paying someone to provide these services.
Right.
I'm acting as my own general. You know, so yeah, once you're done,
Right.
here's your money, give me a waiver. Even if it's a one thing, the
Right.
roofing, give me a waiver. It was a small job, but you've
Right.
been paid, give me my waiver, little contract in place. That's how it should be.
Good
Right.
practice.
But that's not what they do. What our rule of thumb is, a lot of the land bank properties or maybe other properties that you've bought and you rehabbed them, we look at what you paid for them.
Right.
You paid 20 for it. But you didn't went in there, you didn't decked it out.
Yeah.
You didn't decked it out. Now you selling it for 80, you selling it for more. We know that
Right.
you got it for 20. We know where it was at. Now you got it on the retail market and you about to get a buyer with a conventional mortgage and an appraisal. We know that an extensive amount of work had to have been done in order for you to get from the 20 to the 80 to the 100,000. So one of the things that we put on our title search is we stip for, and you guys probably see it on some of the more retail than the investor stuff. We stip for the sworn statements and waivers,
Right.
and that catches a lot of the owners, the sellers,
Yeah.
or you know, some of the agents who may have done the contract work. It throws them off. They're like, what do you mean?
Right.
Because they don't know, they don't realize it. But that was a lot of improvements. I mean, a lot had to
Right.
have been done for you to get from 20 to 80 I mean, you put 60,000 and some change in there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
'Cause
Okay,
you always
okay,
have
people,
to-
hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Right.
Stip is stipulations that need to be met by the title company.
But I got a question.
Right.
Is there a time frame for that? Like, so when you see that improvement from 20 to 100, is it like, all right, under 90 days we look at it, under 180 days?
We
look at it?
generally ask, and this again,
Right.
this affidavit, and you guys, every title company has it. It may
Yeah.
it may look different, but the content is the same.
Right.
Has there been any work performed on this home within the last 120 days? They may constitute a lien.
Right.
And
And you know they have because it was a rehab project.
Yeah,
right.
we know because it's a rehab. See, because, and if I remember correctly, because this goes back to my new construction and my commercial, a contractor has, I believe it's 90 days, and I may be off, so don't,
It's
you know.
120 days,
before-
I believe.
In order to file their lien,
Right.
they got to go ahead and get that lien on record. So if they're doing this work for you and you're not paying them or y'all in a dispute, they're going to go ahead and run down there, or they should run down there
Right.
and put their lien on record because they want to get paid. And they have a certain amount of time from when the work has been performed.
Right.
From when the work has been performed to make sure that they get the lien on record. And then they have a year from once the lien is on record to enforce that lien by way of a foreclosure or something if they don't
Right.
get paid. So that's why it's important for us as title folks saying, we see the difference. We know the work has been done because their lien rights trump the ownership. So their lien rights is going to trump you as the new buyer. If I don't cover if I don't cover and ask for these sworn statements and waivers, their lien rights, whether the lien is recorded or not,
Right.
if there's a dispute and they go down there and record a lien after the fact, the work was performed in order for us to get to the closed table and get the deal sold.
Right.
So that's why, and it also for the lender's purpose, because just jumping the gun a little bit, if we're doing retail, the lender want what? First lien position.
Right.
First lien position. They want to be in front of the taxes. They want to be in front of the condo dues. They want to be in front of the contractor work.
Right.
They want first lien because if things go belly up and they got to sell this mortgage or this note, they can't have things hindering them, such as unpaid taxes or unpaid contractors. So again, for you guys that are out here, and because we got a lot of that right now, you getting them at the low, and you putting the money in there, and then you get upset when you say, "Well, I got to do sworns and waivers." I mean, it's part of it. It was a small job in your mind, but it's a simple template off the state site, the construction lien site. You can go to the website, state of Michigan, plug in the construction lien. They're gonna bring up all the templates. We can go into waivers, but we'll do that at a different time. There's different waivers, but at the end of the day, the point is you write down everyone that's done the job, you notate whatever that contract is, and as you're paying them, whether it's the whole thing or partial payments, you're getting waivers for that. What does the waiver do? I'm getting paid, I'm giving you a waiver saying I waive my lien rights to this amount based upon what I've gotten paid from the contract we've agreed upon.
Right.
And go ahead.
I just had a closing where the seller, he did hire some people, but he did quite a bit of the work himself. He had this property for like 2 years, but it was such a huge project, and the title company was like, "It's no way you did all of this work yourself." But he really did do the cabinets and some other stuff, and they were like, "Well, you need the handyman to help you sign a waiver." And he's like, "What handyman? I brought the jack stuff to put it up." They made him find receipts for everything he brought from Home Depot to show that there was no material supplier liens going to come out.
Yeah, if it was a huge job like that, I can see that happening.
He'd been better off getting that lien. I'm sorry.
He should have just hired somebody to do the work.
Yeah, but you don't know that. You know you're a handyman. You got time on your hand. You're like, I'm going to put my own cabinets up. You just don't know, which is why we're doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that had to be a significant job, and I can see that.
Yeah.
We've found ourselves in positions where we've had to say, okay, the contractor's got to be paid at closing.
Right.
So again, we're talking about you getting that hot 110 after we take off the payoff, because you got the mortgage on there. You got the mortgage on there. So we're going to deduct the mortgage. We got to take care of the water. We got to take care of the taxes.
Right.
Now we got to go talk about, okay, so your sworn statement shows all these guys still haven't been paid. There's a contract balance. Okay, you know what? We're going to have to pay them at closing. And so we're going to itemize all, and it used to happen all the time back in the day.
Right.
All the time. We don't really see it that much anymore, but it is part of it, especially on the big jobs. If they haven't been paid, in order for us, again, to guarantee the buyer that they're getting marketable title without all the headaches and the lender's getting first lien position, okay, let's list them. They come in, check, waiver. Check, waiver. you know.
So we got two messages here.
Right.
First message is this. So I'm experienced. I feel like I'm experienced, very experienced. I still use a title company.
Yeah, I do too.
100% of the time, right? So even when I do a quick claim deed, I still have the title company do the title search.
Yep.
At bare minimum, right? And then the other thing is hire a contractor. No.
Yeah. Well, that's why, because even like when I do hard money loans, whenever they do a construction draw, they want a lien waiver for the work up to that point.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier for me because I already have all my waivers signed prior to closing. But a lot of people are not doing that. They're hiring somebody or somebody they met, a couple handyman.
So I hire Masari, and
There you go.
I don't get no
Don't call Masari for your investment deal.
But wait, like we said with the attorney, if something happened to Kashka, then his family coming for that money.
Right.
They don't care.
Well, we need to get to attorney
Jeter.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
It was something. Oh, so when you and I talked on the phone, you were talking about some uncommon things are coming up in title.
Because with COVID, you're seeing some delays with recordings and some stuff that
the gap was there. It's kind of pulled in a little bit, but what you have to keep in mind is, and this is always going to be there, by the county being back open, you can make an appointment. You can just walk down there anymore, but you can make an appointment. So put it like this. You can walk into me and say, hey, I want you to e-record for me. Yeah. And that's where I'm doing it in-house as a title company. Most title companies have the ability to do the e-recording.
Right.
It just saves on time going down there. And they're fairly fast, depending on the counties.
Right.
Some counties you can't, but for the most part, Wayne County has even gotten better with their e-recording. When we submit it, we have to submit it through this platform and then let it run its course, depending on what type of document it is for certification or what have you. But at the same time that I'm pushing a document through e-recording, you can have someone that has made an appointment with the county and walk in and record their document. Guess whose document got on record first?
Right.
And that comes within that, again, Michigan is a race to record state, understanding who you're dealing with, understanding the nature of the business. You guys talked about it. There's folks that don't do anything but just sit back and figure out ways that they can they can get over. They can make a move, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they're out there doing this, and I'm trying to e-record. So you have that gap there. That's popular right now. Again, it's a sad story, but it's something that's uncommon with COVID, coming through and lives unexpectedly. You got a lot of folks that just didn't have their affairs in order.
Right.
When it relates to, they talked about the will. They talked about the trust. They talked about the ladybird deed, things that you guys, but did the parents actually put those things in place? They talked about taking the quick, and this is a good way of using the quick claim deed. A lot of people use quick claim deeds for purposes of, we're getting a divorce and the judge said that you get X amount of money and I got to deed my interest over to you. Quick claim deed. Yep. I want to take it from my name over to me and my husband if I was the only one on title, or my husband and I, vice versa. Quick claim deed. I got it in my personal name, but I just created my LLC. I'm moving some things around. It's an investment property. I've gotten with my CPA and my attorney, hint, and I want to do a quick claim deed.
Let me stop you. So to do that quick claim deed, though, you have to own it outright, right? You can't quick claim deed if you have a mortgage on that property.
You shouldn't.
Because you're going to muddy the title up.
You could.
Right.
I mean, but you can
to title.
Be careful with that. And I say you shouldn't, because technically, if you read the mortgage, the 24-page, the 30-page mortgage,
I think it's clause 17.
This clause has been there forever. If you change the owner, they can accelerate the terms. Call it due.
Yeah.
I mean, do people do it? Hey, I'm not an attorney. Do people do it? But just know that. But those are things that people do. So in cases like that, the quick claim deed is good. It could be a good deal. Like I said, I ain't mad at the good deal. I'm not knocking the good deal.
We
but
just
like you
passed
said,
up a couple good deals just because
it was a quick claim deed.
It was a quick claim deed, and the title was just too muddy. It was something that had come up where it was like the people owned the house, And then it was like a land contract out there that wasn't recorded.
Yeah.
There was a quitclaim deed that wasn't recorded. And it's like, okay. And then there was a squatter in the house.
Oh,
Yeah, you had a lot going
And then
on
the
with that.
squatter was taking care of the house. Like when I rode past the house, I told Shaka, I was like, we have to get this house. And we literally had to be like, nope. Just gonna leave it where it is.
No, I had it. Jonnita is
Sometimes
aggressive.
it's not worth it.
It's not
Jonnita
worth
is
it.
aggressive. She's like, we
You know
can
what?
figure it out. We'll get through it. You know what I mean?
Right.
No, Jonnita, not on this. No.
I swear. But first of all, I would not be doing as much business as I do if I didn't make smart moves.
no, you-
100%.
But you,
100%.
it might cross your
Yeah.
mind.
You wouldn't be
Yes,
my,
but I
wouldn't
will-
partner with you.
I
You'll
if you weren't.
entertain it.
Exactly.
You know,
I
you'll
definitely
entertain
will
it.
be like, okay, I'm going to search the title. I'm going to call around. I'm going to make sure.
There's
that
nothing
we
wrong
get
with
this.
that.
100%,
There's
yeah.
nothing wrong with that. And just because of what you described there
Right.
doesn't mean that it's not insurable or it can't
Be quiet.
get insurable.
Right.
It's just how do we go about cleaning up that muddy water to make it
Mhm.
Right.
insurable. So I mean, you know, it's how much money and how much time do I
Exactly.
have,
Right.
and how much am I getting this for? And I know what I got to do on the back end. That's when those decisions come in. But real quick, I just want to go back to it. You know, so where I was going with it with the whole COVID thing and just affairs not in order. You had a lot of folks that passed away.
Right.
Which
Right.
now leaves the property was in my name. I never put it over to my daughter and I, or I never put it in my husband.
Right.
I didn't put it in my daughter with joint tenants, which was what my intent was. But I didn't have time. I didn't know my
Right.
time was expiring. You know,
Right.
we had a lot of that, and there's still a lot of that. I get those calls daily where it's mom, dad, grandma, whomever is gone, and this property was in their name. What do I do? That's the general, you got to deal with probate. But we also came across a lot of,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I got the deed.
Mm.
I got the deed. And it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
Keep
know.
that deed. Right?
And it's a
Right.
few things that, being familiar with documents,
Mm-hmm.
looking at notary dates,
Yep.
looking at signatures,
Yep.
looking at dated dates, you could kind of just tell, and you don't never want to tell someone, oh, no, that ain't,
That's a
because
lie.
you
You a
don't
lying.
know.
Right.
But as title folks, it's a way that we can examine certain documents and say, yeah, we can't accept that. And
Right.
a lot of time that's the title company's discretion.
Mhm.
We're big on it because one of the other things that we see a lot of right now are handwritten quitclaim deeds, not by a title company, not drawn up
Right.
by a title company or drawn up by an attorney. So we call it an uninsured transaction.
Wow.
And it's something that may have happened within the last 6 months to a year for us. Our discretion is
Right.
we need to have that deed re-executed or we need to verify the validity of that deed. You'll be surprised. We probably come across this, it's 31 days in the average month. We probably come across this 20 deals.
Wow.
And
Wow.
at least out of that 20, 4 or 5 turn out to be fraud.
Right.
Reg, explain
Yeah.
that though. Explain what she just. So she just was talking about. So she was. So we got what you were
I
saying,
know,
but
right.
everybody else didn't get what she was saying in regards to what the issue is with that deed that she's talking about.
So you got So you got a few things going on. So some people are grandma passed away June 2nd, right? All of a sudden it's this deed that was dated March of 2021 that grandma never signed. So you're showing up like, hey, I want to sell this property. I'm a car realtor listed on the market. And you say, oh, I got the deed. Then you take it to Detroit Title, and they're like, this deed is kind of fishy. Then they're going to look at the death cert. They're going to look at all of this. That deed doesn't hold up because it was predated, and the signatures might not match other documents. Because remember, they're looking at other documents that grandma signed. The mortgage, the previous records and things of that nature. They're like, this doesn't match up. Then the notary dates don't match up. Because some notaries you go to, some people have hookups for notaries, and they'll come and be like, oh, just date this. The notary don't understand all the little details when it comes to title and dates and everything. They're just dating and signing. So they can immediately spot most of that stuff out.
It's called
So,
fraud, right?
Yeah, it's basically fraud.
Yeah.
You're going to jail.
So, so people get creative, and that's why, like, a lot of times, if people just go through the process, it's so much easier. You
Right.
spend a few $100s, it'll save you a ton of headache. Because what happens is you say, okay, well, I don't want to deal with them. They asking for all of that. It's always they asking for all of
they
that.
doing too much.
Yes.
Yeah, you doing too much.
Yes.
Why we gotta have all that? Why you ask me for all that? Like, trying to run a guilt trip.
Right.
Then they go record that deed, right? Now they come back, that deed is on title. Now it's a bogus deed on title. Now when they go to another title company, it comes up. And the title company may initially look at it and be like, okay, we good. But somewhere in between now and closing, it's going to come back to bite them again. So that's one of the things we're seeing where people are just kind of like, they got caught out there. Grandma didn't take care of personal affairs, and now he's stuck. The family's trying to scramble. And sometimes they're doing it out of desperation. They just need the property.
Or they don't know. Sometimes they honestly don't know.
Yep.
Because not to cut you off, but sometimes you get it where, Grandma said up on my death, you get this property, Shaka, this you. But they didn't know about the paperwork part of it. It was just Grandma said. Sometimes they have a will, so it's as simple as presenting that will to the probate courts. But you get it more often. It's either on that side where it's desperation and they got to make something happen, or it's the side of, I didn't know.
Right.
This is what I had to do.
Emma's so nice.
And so here's the thing I tell agents and wholesalers. The more you know, the more you can help. So if I have somebody come to me and they say, well, my aunt passed and I'm the only niece or nephew, she didn't have any kids, I need to sell this house right away. What can I do? I know several attorneys I can refer them to. We can pull a title and say, hey, this is what you have to do. You're going to have to go through probate, but it can be easy if you don't have all these other issues to deal with.
Put that message. Message is what?
Message.
What's the message?
Get an attorney,
you're going to have to go
call
where?
a professional, and we can help.
Yeah, you're going to have to go through probate.
Yeah,
You're not getting out of that,
and
right?
help work. Just go the right route.
Your quick claim
First
deed
read.
is not going to save you.
Yeah, you got to know the right route, and you got to contact the people that can help you get through it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I generally tell folks, don't call me.
Yeah.
Because it's really nothing. Call me if you don't get it, but don't call me saying, hey, I need you to pull a title right now.
Right.
Because it's nothing that I can, if you know
Yep.
that it's a probate, I'm not your first call.
Right.
Your first call should be to your attorney.
Yep.
Or someone that can help you
Get
with
to
that
an
probate.
attorney.
Don't call. They call me and say, well, you the title company. No, I can't until you get me the proper probate documents.
Right.
There's nothing that I can do,
Yeah.
But they always call me, and I just, I hate to see them waste their money.
Right.
You were explaining something earlier today, kind of like about back in the day title, and it was something that you were saying.
You
Basically,
talking about back
like,
when we used to write it with stone?
Yep, and you used to use facsimiles and things like that.
Facsimiles.
But you had me kind of reminiscing a little bit. I feel like there's been like a shift in what title companies do. Like for me, the title company is like, they make everything nice. They get the package and they put it together and wrap it with a bow, and then we go in there, we have coffee and a great time and sign documents. But now, I would say within like the last 24 months or so, it almost seems like with title companies in general, it doesn't matter which ones. It's just not that same level of customer service. I don't know if it's like the stress, the headaches that people are giving to the title company, but there has been like a change in my opinion.
It's a huge change, and we were talking about that for me. And I guess for me, it starts with the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is it's title companies popping up everywhere, and I'm not knocking it. Get your money. But if you don't understand the foundation part of it, you really can't provide the level of service that comes with it. Like for me, it was like title company boot camp.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was over at First American, then I came from First to Lamont Title, and I told you everything that I had to deal with. But I also have the experience of a builder, a mortgage company, so I kind of know to clear to close, and I know this and I know that. But then also, it's that foundation of customer service and interaction and explaining documents. For me personally, I feel like we've gotten away from that.
Yeah.
Right.
In the sense of we're all busy. We're all very busy. We all rely on our phones.
Yeah.
We all rely on our emails. I'm the first one probably up 2-3 in the morning trying to do some, but I stopped responding to certain people because they're like, she sent me an email at 3 in the morning. So I hold that until the morning and I'm popping out. But it's about understanding your client, understanding customer service. My team knows I'm big on, for example, I'm doing a deal with Reggie right now. I'm like, did you call him about, and I hope I can say this, a $9,500 water bill?
Right.
Or $6,500 rather.
They sure called me.
It's like, because, and I'm saying this as an example where he's got this deal, he's ready to go, we got our numbers together, but the first thing that stuck out was a $6,500 water bill, which could make or break the deal. Sure. So absolutely. I could have easily just sent him an email and say, hey, your statement's in your inbox, look at it when you can. But something like that deserves more than just an email. It's, hey, your statements are in your box, make notation, it's a $6,500 water bill, and you know what, I'm going to call you too, because I know you're busy, and you're probably in a closing, you're probably doing a showing. Let me just put this at the top of your priority list. What I find a lot of, and I love my team, I love them, I love you guys, but I'm always, did you call? Did you follow up with a call? Because it's that level of customer service and that little bit of an extra. We all get busy. We're all very stressed. I'm very stressed.
So this is a true story, kid you not. That deal was actually scheduled to close this morning. It was Pontiac property. I got the call a few days ago about that water bill. I called the seller. It's a probate deal, actually. Called the seller, and we went through it. And your girl, I forgot which one it was.
TSARE.
Yeah, she said she had already spoke to the water department. They acknowledged they went to turn it off 2 years ago, but they couldn't because the valve was broken. So we coordinated with the seller. We going out next week to do an actual read and let them inside the property so that they can see the meter. So they'll do some type of adjustment for the bill so we can still close. If I hadn't have got that call or that communication wasn't there, we probably would have had a dead deal because this lady is thinking she's getting, walking away with 25. Now you talking about 14,000. It's like, that's a nightmare.
That's super.
So,
and that's just the water balance. We're not even talking about the escrow that we got.
Right.
And so just back to your point, we've gotten away from that because we get, hey, let me text real quick, or we get so busy that everything is done because we send our stuff out by email. Most title companies do.
Right.
And people got to understand too, in fairness to us as the title people, I get it a lot. Well, what did I hire you for? What do I need an attorney for? I got you. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not an attorney. Right. But what I am willing to do is, can you pull up that email I sent you? Let's go over A, B, and C, and D. Yeah. But that's the title company's discretion to do that.
Yeah.
You'll find a lot of title companies to say, I sent you the commitment, I sent you the docs. Go get an attorney and figure it out, because me going over it with you is going to slow me down from getting to my next file. Sure. You know what I'm saying? So
I think a lot of people also don't understand how big of a role the title company actually plays in the actual transaction. I mean, we really don't have anything without the title company, because we could have a buyer and a seller and a purchase agreement, but if they're getting a mortgage.
But it's two sides.
Yeah.
The title company don't realize, or sometimes we don't realize the role that we play. We play a huge role too, because again, back to this, had we not like, Reg, you need to look at your email, or you need to help us get on this, that would have wasted his time, the seller's time. Yeah. The seller would have been mad at him. He's looking bad because, again, we didn't kind of put emphasis on that. Now, did we have to? No, we could have just said, get your statements and look at them when you do. But the emphasis make it a little bit more. But then on the flip side, we get a lot of the sellers coming in and they don't tell us everything. Yeah. Sometimes they know this stuff.
Absolutely.
Yep.
They know, and they don't tell the agents so that the agents prepare. They don't tell you guys, or they definitely don't tell us, or the agents sometimes.
That's because people don't understand with the title company. It's like, you cannot tell us, but we're still going to find it. Because there's going to be a title search.
There's going to be a search, and then if you don't tell us at that point, because we've had a lot of deals blow up at the table because, again, that old-fashioned, nifty owner's affidavit. Have you been married or divorced during the time of owning this? Have you been in a bankruptcy? Have you been in this and that? Which goes back to me saying, and why a lot of people be like, you always doing classes. I do the classes because I'm giving you the tools to be successful when you go on your showing and you sitting there writing a contract. Is that mine?
Yeah, that's somebody's phone.
Oh, okay. I'm giving you
title order.
Right. I'm giving you the classes when you sitting there, because if they say, well, I got to call my attorney about my bankruptcy, ding, ding, ding. That's
Right.
going to
I do
give you,
wanna
it's going to
ask-
stop.
I want to know about that though. I don't know if we did anything on our list, but we are no longer dower state.
Right.
Dower rights.
Dower rights.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. For
So-
purchases, there's the dower rights for signing off, but if it's a refi, there's still what's called homestead rights.
Right.
So, go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess you're kind of answering the question there. So when we're buying, we should technically, as a married person, I can go and buy a house without my husband or my wife, but I can't sell this house. It seems like without my husband or my wife.
Now
even.
you can.
Now
Yeah,
you can.
but
Now you
the
can.
title company still comes and makes that person sign. Like no one seems to be upholding that the fact that we're no longer a state that you have to have that wife's or husband's signature.
I don't know why.
I think that's a title company preference. You've been dealing with the wrong title company.
Okay.
How the company does that? No.
Yeah,
No,
no, really, because
but I'm saying,
it's been a
yeah.
few years now.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a refinance, and and you're doing it without the husband, but you guys are married, there are certain documents, the note, not the note because that's your credit obligation, but the mortgage and some other stuff if this is primary residence too,
Right.
for homestead purposes, and also for the bank again if things go belly up,
Yeah.
and they need to foreclose,
Responsibility.
from a collateral
they gonna come to?
standpoint, not note
Right.
obligation, but just the mortgage collateral. So from a homestead perspective, spouses would need to sign if it's that type of loan. But if it's a sale or a purchase, no. And it's always kind of been like that for the women. A woman
Yep.
back in the
Could
day,
buy
you could
and
buy,
sell
sell,
without
do
your
whatever
husband.
without your husband, but it was the flip. The man, he was like, I bought this by myself. Well, you married now. She got to come on in here. You mad, I know.
Right.
But she got to come on in here. But they stopped that 4, 5.
It's been about 3 or 4 years. So in some title companies, what they're doing is they look at when the husband brought it. If he brought it by himself before the law took effect and the change, they may still
But
ask
how
the
far
wife
in
to
between
come
is
back.
that? You know what I mean?
But I mean, that's just some title companies.
Yeah, no,
So,
you're right.
yeah,
Again, it's
so-
that discretion thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's certain things that we do the next or vice versa,
Yeah.
Okay.
And
In with a little bit of a explanation about people that sell properties.
Right.
I sell it for $25,000,
right,
and I'm leaving with $6,000.
right.
Which is what she just explained, right? And they be like, what's going on? I just had that situation a couple weeks ago, that house that we talked about where
Right.
there was a squatter in there.
Right.
At the table, the father came there. It was a father and a son
Right,
that owned the property together, but the father quitclaimed the property to the son,
right.
and the son was selling it to me for a number,
Yeah.
but his bottom line was a different number because he had
Taxes.
taxes, water,
Yeah.
and
Middleman.
whatever he had, right?
Oh.
But the number, the dad seen the number, what she said, right?
Right.
The dad seen the number, and he like, he almost didn't sign.
So here's the thing I tell people. The market don't care what you owe on a property. They just care what the market value is, right? So people will say, oh, I'm selling my house for $150. I'm only walking away with $120. Well, you haven't paid taxes in 3 years. The market don't care what you owe. It's only worth $150,000. So you walking away with $120 is not the buyer's fault. So
Right.
some sellers think that, oh, well, they ain't give me enough or whatever, or I got to get more. No, you don't have to get, well, you want to get more, but you're not getting it. But you still owe these taxes. If we cancel this deal, you still got to pay those taxes, whether it's out of pocket or out of the sale. So a lot of people think that. So what I do is when I walk into a property, a listing, or whether I'm buying a property, I give people an estimated net sheet.
That foundation.
Yep.
That's
So
that
I can
foundation.
show, I can say, hey, here's what your estimated cost, title insurance, state transfer tax, commissions, whether it's a commission or not, all the fees, and then they'll see their net, and then I'll say this does not include past due taxes, water bill, mortgages. This number, you subtract what you owe from there. So when we get to closing, it may be off $100 or $200, but not $10,000.
Message: get a real estate agent
Right.
because that person did
Right.
not have a realtor.
For sure.
And
That's what happened, right?
But it's the same thing in the small deals.
Yeah.
In those numbers, you may not see it
As much.
as
Yeah, because
much
it's still
because
120.
you still you looking at some significant
Right.
dollars there. But when you're looking at 20,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and here she is walking away with 6, if 6,
Yeah.
it's a sticker shocker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And and that's what that whole assignment, flip,
Yeah.
quick claim deed, back and forth type thing comes in. And a lot of our newer sales folks in the industry,
Yep.
they're not familiar with the various sites, for being able to retrieve tax information in
Right.
advance, understanding how the dynamics of water within the city of Detroit could have 6, 7 water
Yeah.
accounts, understanding blight, something we're up against, for certain parts of the city. That just doesn't click because they don't know, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So all they know is, Mr. Seller, that's how much I'm offering you. Mr. Seller is like, yeah, that's how much I'm gonna get, and they forget about that middle right there.
Right.
And one of the things that we go back to doing is we'll do a net sheet, we'll do a preliminary.
I do like 3.
But folks
Right.
don't know. And it goes back to you don't know what you don't know. But just on that real quick, and I think you guys talked about this
Right.
with the whole quick claim thing. A lot of people don't understand, business partners, we're going into business together, or, I own it, but I want to put my daughter as joint tenants, or, different verbiages for different purposes. Be careful
Yep.
who you're putting on your title, because if they have personal matters going on in their life, the moment their name touches real estate, those matters now become an issue
Right.
with that real estate. And I'm bringing that up because you said dad owned it, dad popped it over to son by quick claim deed,
Right.
had son, had matters going on. He probably wouldn't have even gotten 6 if he would have had a state lien or,
Yep.
something,
Federal
because
tax,
all
yes.
that's got to come off
Yep.
and get paid, in order for the new buyer to get title insurance
Right.
with that warranty deed.
For sure.
Well,
I want to ask a question.
okay.
We got to talk about these LLC.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So a lot of people, they're selling their, and we've had this happen. Someone's selling a property in their LLC, and they're like, well, who's the check going to be made out to? And I'm like, the owner. Well, I own it. Why it can't be made out to me? No, your company owns it. So well, first of all, what documents does a title company need for a LLC if it's a seller or a buyer in that case, and the checks are always going to the company?
Correct.
All right.
If it's a cash transaction,
Right.
or it's a land contract transaction, which is
Right.
considered on the cash end, if you are the buyer,
Right.
we're only asking that you're duly filed with whatever state, Delaware, Nevada,
Right.
Michigan, wherever you're duly not
You
that
name
you're
some of them states.
not that
Yeah.
you're about to file, or you're about to set your LLC up, or you submitted the application, but when I go
Right.
on the site,
see.
I don't see anything. No,
Right.
you're duly filed, because what you have to keep in mind is that as an insurer, I can't insure something that doesn't exist or is
Right.
not filed, okay? Because I'm insuring you, that LLC, that you have good title.
Right.
You have to be duly filed. So what we're looking for when you're on the buying end are your articles of organization,
Right.
and evidence that you're in good standing. You can't be out there and you're not in good standing, because again, you could be in the middle of getting defunct and we don't know this. And now
Right.
we're back to, we've just insured a not in good standing LLC.
Right.
So again, we're back to, it's an impact on our title policy. Okay. So from a buyer standpoint, with cash, articles of organization, you're duly filed.
Right.
A lot of times folks may present us with their operating agreement. The more the better. We'll read through it. You give it to us, we read through it, and we see something in there that talks about there's 2 or 3 officers and you have to have a resolution for one. Now you just opened up a can of worms.
Right.
You showed it to me. I can't turn a blind eye. I need what I need. But on the surface, as cash, we just need to know that you're filed in your articles. Now, on the flip side of that, you're selling. I don't care if it's, let me back up. If you're getting any type of mortgage, whether it's
Right.
one of these hard money loans or it's a regular mortgage, and you're the buyer, you are, as the buyer, pledging your property for a mortgage. So you're pledging that collateral for financing. We must see what's called the operating agreement for LLC, the bylaws and/or resolution for the corporation. Partnership, we need to review the partnership agreement, and it may come with some sort of resolution. Reason being is because someone is now signing on behalf of that company that's pledging this property for that mortgage. So we need to make sure that the officer, if it's
Right.
an LLC, is the manager or the member, that's
Right.
doing this. If it's a corporation or whatnot, it's the president or someone who has the ability to make that decision
Right.
and bind that company. So we do need to go a little bit deeper and see the actual operating agreement of those documents, because they tell us these are the affairs, this is what's going on with the company. It goes
Right.
into a little bit more with how to handle things business-wise, but we're looking for who's the managers, who's the officers that can actually make these decisions.
Right.
So if you're getting a small, if you're getting a small mortgage, you got one of your hard money lenders, and they're like, well, we want a loan policy. Well, I need operating agreement, or I need the bylaws for your corporation or your partnership. If you are selling, I don't care if it's cash, land contract, mortgage, or whatever. If you're on the sales side,
Right.
we need one, you must be in good standings. We still need those articles of organization, and we need, it's a must that we have that operating agreement.
Right.
It's a must that we have those bylaws and that resolution. It's a must that we have that partnership. It's a must that we have that trust agreement or current certificate of trust agreement if you're dealing with an attorney. These are things that we must. Reason being is because it goes back to what I said. I can tell you all day long that, oh yeah, they said I can sign. I can sign for the company.
Right.
But if the officer, the bona fide officer of that company or the manager did not give me the authority by way of some sort of resolution or something, not a POA, not a power of attorney,
Right.
but a resolution granting me to do these things, I don't have the ability to bind this company or sell this
Or
real
sell the
estate.
property.
You
Right.
know? So what I always tell folks is, when you're buying and you know you're setting your LLC up, get with your accountant, get with your attorney, go ahead and get those operating agreements. Go
Right.
ahead and get those partnerships. Just get that stuff in place because you're going to need it. Yeah, I get it. You're the manager. You're the owner. It's yours. But you're managing the LLC.
Yeah.
Me and
But
Shaka
as
go through
you
that, like,
said-
every time we have a closing, y'all be calling,
No.
talking
Yes.
about
Signing
and
authority, right?
Well, we
Signing
have
authority.
that, and Emma has it probably in her files, but I still get a call.
And
talking
then,
about
and
Well, I
guess what
still
though?
have to-
Sometimes it can change.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, I
Yeah,
mean, we
updated
ain't done a
signing
deal
authority.
in 6 months, 9 months, a year.
Yeah.
I don't know what changed. So I may just ask the question,
Update.
has anything changed? Oh, yeah, I took so-and-so off. Oh, yeah, I amended it. Because if you don't ask, then you don't know that I need
But
it.
no, he always talk about no because, and he don't know what actually be about to come out my mouth.
Oh, yeah. But people don't understand, you know, because, and you know, sometimes you have those that are sole members. So, you know, there's certain things that different title companies can do to assist there.
Right.
But even with that, I'm sorry, John. I know that you're the sole member. I know you're the only guy that runs this. But you put the property in John's LLC. So
Right.
that's who we must pay.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's so funny because I got one
People
just
get
the other
that all
day.
the time.
He bought it from the Wayne County Treasurer. It's some LLC. LLC not in existence anyway.
Right.
He's like, what do you want me to do? I need you to go.
Go, but
You
then
gotta go
go
create
buy it.
one, right.
Should've
So
bought that one.
here's the thing.
Has the tax sale come yet?
Somebody can.
September.
Yeah. Somebody can go file that LLC name. So if you put
You're in
if
trouble.
I put this property in John Doe LLC, and associates or whatever, and then I never filed and own the business John Doe LLC, somebody else go, oh, my name's John Doe LLC. Now you got a problem.
So you
right?
snooze, you lose.
Hold on,
We
but
had
are you
that.
going to allow that? Are you
No,
gonna?
look, I mean, it's been situations where the names have been a lot of times, and this, you know, like I say, look at your deed, make sure your deed is right. And sometimes we catch it when the deed is rolled
Yeah, you
up.
can do an
You could do
affidavit.
John LLC, and we go on Laura and we look, we don't see, but it was actually John Doe.
Right.
Those words matter. Things happen, mistakes happen, and
Right.
you know, you could have John LLC, but when we go and look, we don't see it, but we see John Doe. And then when you look at the address and you look, I mean, it's discretions that you
Yeah.
can make internally. But it still boils down to everything. You got to make it make sense.
Right.
You have
Question.
to make it make sense.
I got a question. If I own my property and I deed it to my LLC, does that void my title policy?
I'm glad you asked that because you had
Right.
said it earlier. Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. If you do it the proper way, because keep in mind, as an insurance company, and I put emphasis on that because people
Right.
don't understand how important it is. We don't just do what we do to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna close you. We are an insurance company.
Right.
We're providing a policy, so we take this serious, you know. And you purchased this property in your name, and now
Right.
you're flipping it to your LLC.
Right.
You really should have your policy endorsed You
Okay.
should go back to whatever. And I send people away all the time. Everybody want to call me. I mean, they told me to call you, and I appreciate it. But you know what? It's not worth the money for me.
Right.
Because you may lose on the flip side if I don't give you the service that you're looking for. So I'll tell you, go back to the title company that you closed with, because
Right.
they insured you, Reginald
Right.
Perryman, and now you want to put it in Reginald Perryman's LLC. You're
Right.
probably an officer of that. Provide them with all the evidence that you're an officer within that business entity.
Right.
Get the proper endorsement to
Right.
your policy.
Right.
Basically, it's an endorsement saying that we're now changing the insured. We've looked at everything as the underwriter. We're satisfied with everything,
Right.
and now we'll extend that policy coverage on. But if you do that outside of the title company, and I have people come, well, I'm going to do this anyway. Yeah, I don't think you should. And if you have a claim, you're leaving yourself for the underwriter to say, well, first off, who's the insured?
So
Right.
hold on, they're doing that through a quick claim deed, right?
So there's no warranty behind it if you don't get the endorsement. And for us, we say if you want to get the endorsement, let's do a warranty deed. You can
Right.
warranty from yourself over to your LLC.
Yeah.
You can do it for $1
Yeah.
or whatever
Yeah.
because it's for a purpose, you know. But it's how you do it. And again, it's one of those you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
You know,
Hire a
but
title company.
that's the way to do it.
Okay.
You know, you need to make sure that policy carry through, because if you do not, and if a claim comes up, you're leaving room for the underwriter to say, yeah, we insured Reggie. We didn't
Not
insure
the
Reginald.
LLC.
And it's a quick claim deed.
Right.
Those hidden paragraphs within the policy.
Right.
So
Okay.
Well, second time trying to say no. I'm just playing. This was really good, Emma. We really appreciate you coming. I know we all call.
We gotta have you back too.
And we
Definitely.
definitely
There's
need
so
to have
much
you
to
back.
cover.
And you know, I this is really good. I'm always interested. It's crazy, right?
there's always so much to talk about, though. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, title is a black hole.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you coming. Thank you so much for your time and your energy. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to say that, you
Oh.
know, the tax sale, people, you can register now, but, you know, the tax sale is coming up. As soon as you get your deed, contact Emma, or as soon as you get your deed, contact Emma so you can go through clearing
Yeah.
title.
Yeah.
Emma, how do we find you?
Well, a few ways, you know. Now, I don't know my IG. Reggie probably know it better than me. But, of course, my direct is the office number, 313-846-5200. You can press 0 and find me. My cell phone, everyone has it. It's probably all over the bars in the city, everywhere. The churches, too.
Right.
248-767-8250. My email is elder@dettitle.com. Of course, I'm on Facebook by my name. Just look up Emma Elder Hall. And I don't know my IG.
Right. Hey, and she gave out her cell number.
Ooh.
Right.
Text her a message, not documents.
Oh my God, yes.
People be texting home mortgages. I'm
They
like,
do.
God,
You'll see that finger holding it.
Right.
They flipping the pages. Yes, please don't do that.
yeah.
You can find me at Jonnita Stanton on Instagram, Jonnita Stanton on Facebook. Google me, Jonnita Stanton.
Yeah.
Reggie is real estate, or Google Reginald Perryman. You'll find me.
Shaka Sales, SHAKA sales.com, or MasariContractors.com. Thanks.
All right. All right. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate you, Emma.
All right.
All right.